Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. In episode 138, my special first-time guest is Brandon Thomas. Brandon is in full alignment with his purpose of conscious awakening. His ever-present mission of giving people back to themselves has manifested itself as breakthrough opportunities to expand ever deeper into the mysteries that fuel his curiosity, which in turn fuel his creativity. Brandon hosts stimulating conversations with his popular podcast called Expanding Reality, whose mantra is the expansion of consciousness cleverly disguised as a podcast. Brandon is also the founder and the reality expander of Rediginal Publishing, who is committed to empowering and amplifying the voices and visions of ridiculously original authors and creators. Rediginal is the proud publisher of Expanding Reality, Expanded Insight and Episodic Reflection, Volume Number 1, a companion handbook to the podcast Expanding Reality, hosted by Brandon Thomas. Rediginal is now elated to publish his Expansion Journal series, which we're going to talk about today. This is a mindfully expansive look at self. This series encourages critical thinking and invites true self-actualization. Brandon has appeared on many podcasts and broadcasts to discuss his story, his creations, and his unique perception of reality, of life, and of purpose. Catch new and archived episodes of Expanding Reality wherever podcasts are served. Snag new titles by Brandon Thomas, published by Rediginal Publishing, where his profound works are found. All the links will be found below. And thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this podcast with your friends. Brandon, welcome to the Quantum Guide Show. How are you today?
Karen, to answer your question, outstanding, but also wonderful introduction. Thank you so much for that. This is
My
great.
pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. I want people to know all about you. So I saw your show, I think it was about a week ago, on time travel. I thought it was fascinating, really fascinating. And I recommend your podcast to everybody. And I'm wanting you to share as much as you want today about your journal, your journey, your podcast, your life, anything you want. Let's just go for it.
Yeah, sure. It's a broad brush to paint everything with, but we'll do it in a bit of that order. I'm Brandon Thomas. Thank you so much, Karen, again, for having me on here. You're part of a beautiful network of lovely family members of mine as well. So this is just an awesome thing. Kiva is going to be joining us as well. So yes, to answer your question about the show started a few years ago. We're almost to 3 years in it now. We're up to 200 and almost 30 episodes. I think 228 released today. And so we're, having a blast talking about this kind of stuff. And really, like you said, and graciously so, and thank you, that the show is literally the expansion of consciousness cleverly disguised as a podcast. That's what it turned out to be. I wanted to talk about UFOs and talk to some of these really cool authors that I heard and presenters I heard on Coast to Coast, for years, and just love their work and love the ideas. And it ended up being this, look into consciousness. And I'm grateful for the name as well, because the name is a verb, which is very important to me. The expanding of reality is what's occurring and seems to have been the fuel for this thing. And it's way bigger than me and has been forever. I'm just holding on and just seeing where it goes, which has been an incredible journey in itself. So the show, like I said, is amazing and goes out everywhere. I'm sure you'll link stuff at anywhere you throw a rock and hit podcasts, you can find it. It's on 40 something different listener platforms, almost 50, and then Odyssey, YouTube, Rockfin, all that good stuff. So there's that. And then, like you said, there is a publishing house that was founded a little over a year ago. And I just kind of have kept it quiet and been working on learning what publishing is and all of those kinds of things. And in the meantime, with all of that, I do have a Canva account that I've been going crazy with as well, and just pushing the limits of all of this stuff, and ended up, like you read in the introduction there, creating not only the publishing house, Rediginal, which you nailed it, by the way. It's very rare, honestly, to hear people get that on the first shot. So very, very well done on you. It's a poly word that I made up. I know that all words are made up, but Rediginal means ridiculously original, right? And so that's all about. And then we do have the first book that we put out was in the summer or the December of 2022. And this one is a companion book for the show. So you can actually go through and track along any episode that you want. So it's episodic, meaning that you just go through and don't have to listen to them in any particular order. You just fill in these things about it. There's an intended use section at the beginning of it. It also has all these little bonus pages and things like that you can go in and answer. It's just really cool. It's a fun project. And then as you go through it, you get to, follow along with the show in a creative way. And I hadn't seen another podcast do a value offer like that. And so it was twofold. It was something I wanted to offer the audience to make sure that they knew that I cared and that I was doing creative things with them in mind there, but also to inspire other content creators or other folks who provide services of sorts. And I mean, this isn't limited to anything, is to do something like this for their audience. Maybe think of a little outside the box on something. If you're a Bigfoot hunter, maybe getting a field guide together and printing something like that up so where your audience can go out, field that thing in, and then you're good to go. Maybe UFO hunting or tracking manual, observation manual for some of the UFO shows out there and things like that, these cryptid hunters and stuff. So there's, it's endless opportunities out here with this stuff. And that's my sort of forte. I'm tapped into the muse. We have a great relationship. I was and still am, I was a touring musician for 12 years. I toured all over the US and China and things like that with my music. And so very musically inclined, but even on my guitars, I wood burned and I carved on them and stuff. So there's a lot of element of customization to this reality. And so my big thing here is imagination, creativity. I've never lost that from being a kid. And so I don't feel like I've grown up at all. I'm just turned 41 and I've never felt freer to do cooler stuff ever, So that's really what it's all about for me, is maintaining that while also sort of being grounded in a chaotic world that's going nuts and burning to shit around everyone. And so with that came along the journal series, which I'm going to pause here and see if you have any questions to anything I've been saying before we go into that, because that's a whole thing. But yeah, so far the show and the publishing house is mainly what I'm doing now. There's been a long road in between all that with amazing opportunities for all kinds of stuff. But that's where the dust has settled for now, is the show and the publishing house. And it's going awesome.
Oh, it sounds fantastic. Yeah, I do have a question. Now, I have quite a few friends that are cryptid. I would say cryptid hunters, but they're actually not, that's not really a good term. They are people who are very respectful of the cryptids. Some of them have actually made friends with them and are like ambassadors with them. And they've tossed around ideas about having a workbook that helps people to get started when they want to go out into the woods, just to start identifying some of the signifiers or some of the things that you look for, so that you can get a pretty good idea that there might be Sasquatches in the area or other cryptids. And so if it's okay with you, I would love to recommend you to them. Because they've been talking on a lot of shows about coming up with some kind of a workbook, because they want to enter those realms respectfully.
Yes. And it's a tangible thing. This is the thing about this workbook. It's real. It's here. It's not a digital thing. I appreciate when people send me digital copies of their books, but honestly, I want the thing. And this is another part of me. I'm in that interesting generation where we don't exist. We're not Gen X. We're not Gen Z. We're in this weird buffer to where I've got a great sense and appreciation for analog stuff, like real tangible things. Like my friend Ksenia Moore, amazing astrologer, sent me this P-51 Mustang model, because I'm super into these nerdy things like this. It's real tangible shit, like Lego, stuff like that, right? Real creativity and inspiring things. And so again, with this, it's real, it's physical. Now, to something that you were saying about the journal aspect of it, we have, and this is a super secret one, not even out yet, but just as an example, would be to do something in the sense to where, yes, you do have filaments, but also you can have what I call nodes that I've introduced into my journal series, which are things like this. And what this basically does is it has a key at the back of the book that tells you, or actually allows you to assign these to be anything you want. And then they are incorporated into your notes in a certain way. Now that conjoined with other points of context, as far as, a descriptive box, if you want to do a doodle or basically like a drawing, like what did you see, an observational field report guide, basically. And things like that would be an amazing addition to the observation of this reality. Because if you think about it, MUFON's got its investigators and they've got a field guide that they operate out of. But what if there are a couple of questions on there that you would add to that, or a couple of things that maybe you wouldn't spend as much time on, and maybe you'd focus on a couple of other features of the phenomena that are more important to you. And so that's where you get really customizable with this stuff. And so it's the sky's the limit, which is a silly thing because there is no limit. It's really only you and your limitations to anybody that's looking to do something like this. But yeah, it's basically something I encourage like crazy. Just do it, just create create something real. But field guide, something like that would be incredible. It'd be amazing for CE5 groups that go out, want to document meditation tracking and see locations. You want to, because all of the things are important, right? In my journals, we have a moon tracker. You've got little things like greeting practice and weather. You want to, kind of look at all that stuff, an energy, a mood tracker, things like that. How do you feel? All of those kind of things are important when you're looking over at yourself and saying, here's what happened, but also to record an event, if you're going out to the meadow with Trey Hudson and you have a really cool field guide, that'd be something awesome.
Absolutely. It reminds me a bit of what I call a mind map. Where you have different thoughts, and then you have different ideas and thoughts and perceptions that branch off from that. And it's very much like it really shows me that we live in a fractal reality. And the more I expand in any one direction, the more is given to me. So I've had personal experiences with angels and extraterrestrials. I'm actually working on my manuscript right now, and it never seems to be finished because I get to one area of my memory and my perception about the experience, and then another one opens up, and then another one opens up, and it's never ending, and it's very satisfying and exciting. So I think probably one of your journals would be just fantastic for anybody who's exploring reality, and encourage us to take the next step. It's wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you. And that's the thing is they're all about creative and mind. They're called the expansion series. Right now, there are 6 published books in the series out right now. Yes, 6. 6 just dropped. So and what it is it's a morning practice journal, and we can get into a little bit here. But this one's called Mindful Expansion. So this was the first in the series, and what this is cover art by Janine Burgess, by the way. She did an amazing job. I told her, I was like, I was just going to leave it black. And I go, hey, Janine, can I use one of your amazing pieces? And she said, absolutely not. I want to do something custom for you for this project. And there it is. She has stickers available and prints and things like that. So for that, what I did with this is it's my journaling practice. It's what I did every single morning. So when I woke up in the morning, I would draw this. So I hand drew all of this on an architecture table. So I laid it all out. It's all mathematically proportional to what I wanted to do and all that kind of stuff. So what it includes is a bunch of things, and you'll see these like constellations and these little nodes and stuff like that. And the idea here is to customize this how you want. And so there's an intended use section at the beginning of the thing that'll kind of show you the broad strokes. It's got many versions of the pages, and then it goes around and explains things like the daily design, which is just 4 questions you ask yourself every day, right? The mantra section, where it's just a little piece of advice for you or anything that you've been mentally focused on, your gratitude, very important. It also has a thought ninja section, whatever you're crushing in your life, whatever you're releasing, any sort of mental focus that you're focused on getting rid of, right? Lack, scarcity, anything like that. An attraction to the inverse of that, right? What are you bringing in to counterbalance this law of, what do they call that? Law of, I don't remember. Anyway, law of compensation. Whenever you are getting rid of something, you're pushing something into your field as well, right?
Yep.
So then also you have a conversation with self, you have a now and noteworthy, and you have your goals, and then you have a little cluster of constellation over here. And so you have 10 points basically on there, but you'll also see a bunch of little squiggles and stuff. And there's where it gets interesting, is this kind of looks like a manual, but I did hand draw all of this. The only thing that's not, drawn on this is the words. I just had those done whenever I transposed it, but all of it laid out like this. I know it looks a little overwhelming. I have people that write me in that say they're neurodivergent audience and their patients love this thing because of how interactive it is.
Oh yeah.
And that's sort of the whole point, is that I have one filled out that I didn't grab, but To make it colorful. I have these outsides here open for a reason. I fill these in. I drew this in different colors every morning, this whole setup, and it's adapted and things like that. But rather than do all that, I just made one that I could just print out for me, and then I wanted to offer it to y'all. So over here you have like you can write Thursday, and the date from, I don't know, 9/18/23, whatever. And then you have little tracking stations over here. So let's say that like this one's very simple. So you have a keep track of it and a fill it in, done, did it, right? So you'd fill this in with a color and then you note how many days you're doing it. Like, let's say that you're on a new practice cycle. You have a new habit, you're learning a new skill, you're learning Rubik's Cube, and every day you work on it until you get it solved, you fill that in. And nobody needs to know what this thing is. Mine over here, if you look at this little section here, right? It's very small. It just has this circle with the 3 dots next to it. Now, those dots you just fill in with a pen, color, whatever you want. What those represent to me is my age in push-ups, my age in sit-ups, and my age in lunges. If I do that, 41 sit-ups, push-ups, and lunges every day, I fill all of those in and I put a number there, however many numbers I'm counting up to. This is just the way that I use it. Now, there are tons of things like this on there. And then in the back of the book, there are 2 different node sections to where they're actually node keys. You can assign them to be whatever you'd like. And also to that, there are 3 of them, or 2 of them. I think there's a pair of them now. We needed the page for something else. But there are a pair of these things in the back that allow you to go in and say, you know what, actually, I want these things to mean this for me. I want this to mean, I don't know, a goal I'm setting. If I'm working on a daily, if I've encountered any setbacks, and then how many days consecutive, right? These things on the side, you can do a chakra balancer. All these, are you lining up your chakras? There's 7 points here. Use the bottom one as an energy tracker. There are just multiple ways to customize this thing. If you don't want to use the moon tracker up here, you can use it as a cycle counter. It's the same thing for any cycle that you want to count, right? Then you have a reading practice down here as well, to where if you want to assign those things to mean something else, you can. And then what this allows you is that plus the 10 points, already your daily design, the 4 questions, your mantra, gratitude. If you just do those, the track the moon, find out, like, I know new moon for me sucks. That's like my time of the month. Okay. I don't know why, but I've observed in my reality that just for new moon for me, I schedule light. And so that has served me well. I put a moon tracker in here because that's important to me. You fill in what moon phase it is, you say what it is, how many days until the next phase, fill in the next phase of what it's going to and what that phase is, right? So it's a small thing, but you have a little, moon tracker here, your daily design, your mantra, your reading practice. So you're tracking your books and daily reading, whatever, just like 5 pages, whatever you want a day. Gratitude, your conversations with self. Again, if you got anything in your chart that you're looking at, if the world's going to hell in a certain way that you want to now and noteworthy mention, because maybe when you look back on this, you could say, dude, the full moon was like this. My mood was ramped up. My energy was high, but my mood sucked, right? And you can tell a lot about yourself in a smaller area like this, right? But it's, again, all customizable. So we did that for the first one. In the back of this one, it has a sample page of this one, which is IE, or introspective expansion. IE also means, in other words, and it's a line journal series for people who just want to write and want to create. And there are 3 other books right behind this that are very cool. Actually, the second one is right here. It's still in proof form, but it's coming out soon. So there's the second one, which also features pages from the third one, which is a horizontal version of that. So with a different cover art and all that kind of stuff. So all of that to say that it's mindful in the morning. We also have wisdom expansion, which is absolutely out now. It's so new. I don't even have author copies in yet. They're on their way in. From there, then we have CE, or creative expansion. And actually, you and I have a mutual friend in Elsa Dillon, and Gigi Dillon did the cover for this, and 2 more behind it. So Gigi Dillon did the covers for 2 of these, 3 of them total. And this is the first one. Again, they're so new, I don't even have author copies in yet. But what this is just a sketchbook. Essentially, it's blank pages, kind of. At the very beginning of it, I wanted also to make sure that we are community forward in this kind of thing. So there's a lot of contributors to these works. In the first 2, and in all of them, actually, there are multiple quote contributors, multiple energetic send-offs, just sort of, hey, you can do this. For IE, or the introspective expansion for authors, we have a bunch of authors and writers that provide a lot of inspiring messages up top, which is really cool. So too then on the creative expansion, the one geared more for artists, designers, things of that nature, we have a bunch of submissions of art that some amazing people in the community submitted. We have Erica Robin there. She does incredible work. We also have, just skimming through here. Yeah, so like things like this that people submitted, and it's got quotes from them so that you can check out their work further. And then this is the kind of thing that leads you, here's the Dillon family, actually. Here's Jerry Dillon right here. Here's some GG stuff right here. So going into this sketchbook, you get to see other artists or people who like to depict what they see in art form, like the Dillon family here. 4 of them are featured in this book. And then you get to see other artists as well to just inspire you as you go forth boldly to create deliberately, and then it literally gets into all of the blank from there. But again, very community forward on all this kind of stuff. We also have 2 more in the series coming out behind that are going to be hybrids. They're going to be partially lines for designers, for storyboarders, things like that. Anybody who's looking to create a little template of sorts, again, that'll be fully customizable. You can assign it to be whatever you want. So you can say it's part of a series. You can say that this character that you're drawing on the next page that's blank, right, is part of this group in this series that you're doing, and keep track of it that way, and color codes. And it's honestly taking creativity and your ability to design, create, be imaginative, and just offering you a next level experience with that, which is just to provide some really dope templates for you to then go create it. You know, a blank line journal is cool, but with this one, you have little notes. You can put dates, and again, you can assign all kinds of things, but we're out of your way as far as writing goes. But I just thought it'd be cooler than some template in Canva, and I, drew the shit, which is really cool too. It's hand drawn. So a lot of heart and energy into this project. And so far there are 6 books in the series published, but many more right behind it.
Oh, fantastic. I love it, because a lot of people have a huge potential. They've got the drive, they've got the imagination, but it's getting started, getting organized, getting started, getting something to help us to stay on track, some way to keep track of where we've been and where we're going. It's absolutely brilliant. The concept is brilliant, and I'm really impressed. Thank you for bringing that to the world of humankind. I think it would help a lot of people. Now, I'm going to ask you again at the end, and this is not the end of the show, but please tell people where they can go verbally, tell them where they can go to find these, because a lot of people will be listening to this on an audio podcast.
Sure. Our audio only audience. Absolutely. For the audio only audience. And we thank you for being here. I am holding up a few things, and I'm grateful that y'all are here listening. You can actually find all of this stuff right now on Amazon exclusively, not on purpose, anything other than that's our print provider right now. But we did purchase the ISBNs, and we're going wider with that. I know that's a bunch of publisher talk, but what I mean to say is that we're not bound there. And we did a lot of research and spent the extra money to make sure that that was the case. So we'll be doing what they call going wide soon. As far as right now, just go to Amazon and type Mindful Expansion. It is going to pull up this B journal like this, and then you're going to see all the other in the expansion series. So you can even go in and just type expansion series, and it should pull all the journals up. There are hardback and paperback for each version. So if you're a paperback person, we have that as well. And we've got some cover things coming, and we're working with some local artisans on some really cool ways to also take your experience further with these, even once you have them. The other thing too, that is all the covers on the outside spine have different color. I don't know if my camera is going to show you that they have different colors, but yeah. I assure you that they are. And the whole goal on this is that for mindful expansion to occur, it takes 3 journals, 3 of these to complete 1 year, because one of these is 122 days, which is 1/3 of a leap year. So you do need 3 of these to complete a year. As far as the journal process goes, if you're going to do it daily. And so to that, I put these spine nodes on the outside, as I call it. And so you're able to put the volume number you're on for the year. So let's say just the number 1 and then 23, right? The first volume of the year of 23. And so when you do all 3 of 1, 2, and 3 of 23. Now, we've also have this with your sketchbooks and line journals as well. If you just want to kind of note what number it is, maybe it's part of a series. Maybe this sketchbook is just for your bad guys, and all you draw are villains in this thing or something like that. Whatever you're using it for. maybe in this lined series, you mark it on the side that it's for this novel that you're working on, and then it's this book and that novel, right? So there are many customizable features, even externally, that not only are they unique because they're different, but they're the same. Everything's in sort of the same family. And yeah, like you said, it's all about just letting folks know that we encourage you to keep creating. Chris and I were talking about this, that he was, we were joking about that. It feels like he's creating this amazing and has created this incredibly cool documentary, right? And it's just amazing. And then, like what you're doing with your work, you're sitting here spending time right now rather than stocking up on ammo and food or something. And it's just funny that, which I don't recommend or not recommend either. I'm not a proponent of whatever the hell anybody wants to do is fine. But I just think it's funny that we're still, doing things like this and creating and all of that. It kind of feels like we're the, violinists on the Titanic, just still kind of playing and inviting people to invite something different than chaos into their lives, at the moment. Because with our lined journals, you can journal the apocalypse your whole way through, and you'd have a really cool way to do that, right? So you can note how many zombies you're killing, things like that. So there's still, creativity and imagination going on here, despite what, the news and everything else wants to tell you. So I would say that, keep creating.
Yeah. I think creating and creation is part of our birthright. And I also believe that it is the most powerful force that we can have for overcoming the problems of our social reality. Now, I see the social reality very much in the stuff that's on the news, and even the alt news and all the doom and gloom and all of that, as being very much part of what we call the matrix or the construct. And then outside of that, which is a much bigger area, is the creative realm. And so I think the most powerful revolutionary act that we can have is to step out of the construct and into the creative realms. Now, the other thing is, those who do not have our best interests at heart, this is just my opinion, but those that do not have our best interests at heart tend to be psychopaths. They don't have the ability to empathize. They also don't have the ability to create. They don't have it. It's not there. And it's a very empty space. And I actually have compassion for them, because it sucks to be them, to be spending this life in that kind of a realm. Meanwhile, we've got the fantastical, amazing reality that just keeps unfolding in its fractal nature. And so creativity, I think, is part of healing. It's part of creating something better. So we can get completely bogged down in the negative and into the horrible things that are happening in the world. And a lot of us are empathic, and it's very painful to spend time in those realms. But we can also spend time in these other realms that are creative, and we could create a new reality here on Earth. I really believe that what we believe becomes real, that we have that creative power. And what happens is, we actually start to sort of replace an old system with a new system that's based on love and excitement and joy and all kinds of wonderful, wonderful things. And it just takes a little bit of practice to step out of and into a new realm. And that's where I see incredible potential with your journals for people, to actually help them get on target and actually start doing it. And the funny thing is it's not like we don't care about what's going on in the world. I sort of like to sort of keep myself posted on what's going on, although I'm not convinced it's 100% real. You know what I mean? It's from different perspectives that are often sensationalizing and wanting views and wanting, it definitely doesn't come from a place of empathy and compassion and love. So I don't take it too seriously, but I spend more time in the creative realms every single day. And my life is peaceful, rewarding. And there's all this shit flying around, but it doesn't touch me. It's not in my realm. It's not in my world. And again, it's not that I don't care. I do care, but I'm busy creating something better and inviting other people to come join us. That's what my podcast is all about, inviting people to come and hear what other people are doing and see different ways that we can step out of and into. Sorry, I didn't mean to go blah, blah too long here,
I love
but I'm
it. No,
wondering what your thoughts are on all of that.
uh, you're finding me at just such an interesting time, Karen. I love what you said. I love what you said. I as we talked about just a little bit before here, I'm just kind of on this side of like this super dark time, and I've never experienced something like that ever. And so to what you said about I I will say this. I have reevaluated my certainty in everything, but mostly that this place was of for inevitably for our greatest good. And that's something that rocked me to my core. And it now appears to me, and like I said, I love what you said. I'm not here to skew opinions. But I'm going to tell you where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a very difficult time not seeing this as some sort of prison environment that you are absolutely stuck in until you figure out how to get out. And that is the most literal of sense. Get out. It's not a you're learning lessons here. Because I can tell you how I know that. I don't remember the last life. So if I was here to accrue knowledge and to learn lessons, in my mind, it would make sense to me to have access to that information. Now, some people say that they do, and that's amazing. Akashic records and things like that. I don't. I don't feel that I have access to stuff like that. And this is part of this dark shit that I just experience. And I'm not saying that I'm out of it either. I'm in a very interesting spot with all of this. So where I'm at is less optimistic, honestly. I'm less convinced that this place is for your best benefit. I think that a lot of this is trickery, but it's some trickery you can see through, but you're meant to see through that trickery so that you focus on it like keys to a child, and that you don't look at all the other ways you're being fucked, right? Mm-hmm. And so even on a spiritual sense, I think that that's true. So let's say that there is a spiritual realm, and again, you're catching me just an awesome time. I'm fluctuating daily between atheist and fuck this place. I'll be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I don't feel I'm guided. I don't feel protected. I don't have communication with spirit guides. I don't any of that stuff consciously at all. So to say that I feel confident in the type of information that the people I have on the show come invite, their experiences that they have, and any of that I don't experience. So all the way down to I don't dream. So I've never had UFO contact, never had paranormal anything, don't have guides that kind of go, hey, this is going to be cool or all right or whatever. So felt very alone, right? At the end of the spirituality road that I just went down, in my mind, it's just my personal opinion, it looks like religion with extra steps. And it pissed me off to my core. It got me so deeply angry that I fell for that shit again, right? Because we already did this with religion, already got it off the list. Then I got so far into this spirituality thing that I started applying many different practices, when I go for it, I go for it. I mean, I really do. It wasn't one committed thing. It was taking into account many different practices and all the angles, and but then micro focus disciplines when there needed to be, and I committed to those and all of that. And what it made me feel like, and where I was it made me feel like I was led down a tunnel like a light, but finally got to the point where it drained me so much that I could just see it. I didn't have any more to give it, as far as positivity or anything goes. And all I had to give it was the middle finger, and that was it. And so that's when all like the lights turned out, and it's been dark as shit. So that's honestly where I'm at, Karen. And this is why I haven't done interviews and haven't, talked to anybody or anything, because this isn't something I'm really eager to share. But I find myself in a pretty dark place lately, where I don't see the things that everyone else is excited about this fifth dimension, about manifesting, about any of that stuff. I think it's cool as shit. But just like all the phenomena that I see on the show, I don't feel it's available for me. And that was like a fucked off place to get to be honest with you, because it felt the whole time, like those concepts were at my core, like something to where people were inviting me to breathe underwater, right? To learn how to breathe underwater, because that's what it requires. But after drowning, and it's me, I get it. It's probably me or some stubborn programming or some shit that all the ayahuasca in the world wouldn't get rid of or anything like that. So I don't know. It's just an odd place to find yourself. And that's what it's been lately. And yeah, but hang on just 1 second. The dog knocked something over. Hang on.
Okay. I'm just while Brandon's taking a break there, or fixing his situation, I just want to say to the viewers,
Okay.
oh, he's back already. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll tell you and the viewers. I was going to say, and this is just my belief. You don't have to share. Nobody has to share anything I believe.
Mhm.
I encourage people to believe what they believe, and I respect everybody's beliefs. But I really think that what you've just gone through is something very healthy and a natural part of our evolution. I really do, because I've spent times where I've had these amazing synchronicities and messages and incredible things. And then to hit what I call a dry spell, where it's like there's nobody but me in my universe. I'm the only one. There is no help, there are no guides, there are no visions, there's nothing else. And at first it really sucks. It really sucks, but it gave me a chance to go inside and to develop myself. And I'll give you an example if you don't mind.
No, please.
Okay, so at one point, because I had always attached myself to religions, and then finally I got to the point around 1990, maybe 1992, where I'm old, so that's, quite a while ago, where I went, you know what, I'm done with religion. I'm done. You go to one church and everyone says they're the only one and their God's the only one and their way is the only one. And you go to another church across the street and they're saying the same thing. And eventually I just went, oh my God, these people have to be crazy. And I don't mean any disrespect to those of you out there who have a religion and you're happy with it. I'm just saying this was my process and I'm being honest about it. And so I decided I didn't want to do religion. And then I went, well, what happens when I die? And I thought, well, there could be reincarnation, but I don't remember past lives. So I have no proof of that. There might be a heaven and a hell, but I don't really understand how that would work, especially if God's supposed to be love. Maybe there's nothing. Maybe when I die, my components are just reintegrated into the planet and into the star system. Like, I really don't know. So I said, okay, since I really don't know, what am I going to do about it? And this is where I'm going to draw on a little bit of science fiction. I'm going to be like the Klingons. If I live my life with honor, today's a good day to die. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but I went, you know what? No matter what happens to me when I die, if I live my life to the best of my ability, being as conscious as I can, as true to myself as I can, as caring of other people as I can, but I'm not sacrificing myself in that picture, then whatever happens, I got nothing. I got no regrets. And if there is a God who's going to judge me, or send me to hell. First of all, that just doesn't resonate with me. But second of all, I went, well, you know what? I'm not gonna, I just can't swallow that, first of all. And second of all, if I've done my best, who's gonna ever hold that against me? Who's gonna ever hold that against me? And so each day I work on myself. I work on being more patient, respecting other people's beliefs. I'll tell you, I got grown children. It was really hard, especially over the last 3 years when they made major decisions about their health and medical procedures and different things. And I had to shut it and let them have the dignity to direct their own lives. You know what I mean? And I have to give that same dignity to everybody to direct their own lives. I don't want people coming in here and telling me how to think and how to be and what I have to do. No, I know. And so just practicing being a better person became kind of a full-time job. And sometimes, to be honest, it's kind of exhausting. But I'm at the point where I'm not afraid of death at all, because whatever happens to me, I actually do believe that, there's an energetic component of me that no longer needs the mortal coil at the time of death. But it doesn't matter if I'm wrong, even. It doesn't matter. I'm not afraid, because I've lived my life, with being introspective and to be the best Karen I can possibly be. What more could ever be asked of me? So that gets me through those dry spells. That gets me through the creative spells. It gets me through every different state of consciousness that I can go through. But I really believe that these dry spells or those spells where we feel really alone and we're not experiencing these amazing things that other people are experiencing are a part of our soul evolution and a part of growing and being more fully human. And so I think they're very, very natural. And I always just say, go with it. You know, if I want to spend a year in my pajamas and not go anywhere, I'll do that. If that's what I need to do, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When Orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show.
No, I hear you, and it's beautiful, and what you're saying is exceptional. It is. I feel that what this last couple of months allowed me to do is sort of grab all the cumulative observation I've gotten, and to say, you know, and it's got nothing, and it's got not a there's a bit of a left out of the party vibe to it, but in a different way, in a more of course it's a prison because that's how it exists kind of a way, right? It's this outside, which I've done. I've sat with the introspection stuff, and I've sat with the meditations and things like that. I'm not really wired for that, so that's not. I don't feel mentally available to me, and that's got to do with my discipline, which is again a spiral of all kinds of things, right? Of programming and of timing and of all that kind of stuff, and so. I've gotten, again, deep into these things, and I boiled it down to two things. For me, this is my personal experience. So I, like I said, don't have the guidance of everybody else. And if I do, if I'm constantly surrounded by signs and signals and everything else, I don't receive them that way. They're not, either my brain doesn't function that way, or there's something wrong with the way I'm programmed, or maybe I'm programmed not to see them that way, right? To avoid them overtly. But I don't get this sort of guidance like everybody, like I said, again, dreams or anything like that. So what I mean to say by comparison is there seems to be like folks have a mission, they have a guidance, they have a compass, they can close their eyes for a minute, they can go into a dream, and yeah, it's fucking weird, but they haven't. They have something to extrapolate from information. I do not. I have a cease of information. So there's a lack of, and as well, again, when it's pointed out to me that, oh, that should be a sign for you, it's not. So when it's not, that's an issue of information. Either the information is presented in a shitty way, or I'm not able or capable of however the fuck you want to say. Maybe I'm too dumb. Maybe it's a vibrational match thing of receiving it that way. So what does that mean to me? That it's an information thing. It's always right at a grasp. It's when I'm trying something, it is trying. It's not an effective outcome. I do get the feedback over failure. I get all the boundless toxic positivity I can throw at that shit. And where it got me was to this incredibly depressed place, an ultra burnout, to where I'm just over the whole damn thing, Karen. And what it felt like was, have you ever, you don't have to answer this if you don't feel comfortable, but in psychedelic experiences, there's something called the void. And what the void basically is your recognition that there is fuck all anywhere. And that all of this whole place, everything about it is sort of a made up thing by you as a way of you not going insane. And so that in itself, that just recognition that there is, that what you are at your core is a void, and that you're so insane because you've been doing this for eons or however long, that you created this mental prison for yourself, which is what it is, because it's better than the outside, which is void and fuck all. So this place of torture and chaos is what your mind has actually gone to. And there's a lot of people that point out things in our reality that this is like a post tribulation world, a post rapture world, meaning all that shit's already happened in the Bible, and what was going to happen happened, and that this is what's left over, kind of a thing. And again, I don't know if this is based on the information that I've look and see around, because I'm not getting anything to the contrary. This is an amplification of accelerated research, which I'm again aware of something called your RAS, your reticular activating system, that what you focus on is what amplifies in your reality. Clearly aware of these things. So you see, I've taken a pretty logical approach to this because I don't have the feeling barometer like most people do. And I've sat, I've tapped, I've had the clearings, I've had the Akashic records, I've done the psychedelics, I've done all the shit. And again, where it's led me is to this sort of recognition. It feels like I ran to the end of the game and it scared the shit out of me. And that all this is, all anybody's story, all anybody's doing here is just buying your time. This is a prison of sorts. And you're just killing time here. Whatever you want to have out of life, or whatever meaning it gives you, whatever, there are going to be things, and you'll notice this, even a boundless optimist will notice this, that constantly get in your way. And if that's something you want to call the resistance and struggle through it, great. That buys more time, right? So there are inevitable outcomes that happen here. And then we talk about free will versus fate and all this kind of, is this like a prescribed reality? Is this a punishment of sorts? So I've honestly gotten to the darker side of the philosophies because that's where I'm at. And it sucks ass, Karen, to be honest with you. It's not a fun thing, and it feels like this idea of fifth dimension, and all that kind of shit. Again, it's just that. It's just something to kind of kill time until this reality resets itself, which is very soon from now. A lot of people have talked about this on this reset stuff. Howdy Mikowski, I've been just absorbing his books lately, and his material rather, and thinking about this idea of this Archon soul trap and stuff like that, because that's where I'm at. Honestly, my biggest focus lately has been do not go to that fucking light, is get the fuck out of there. Whenever they, grandma shows up, punch her in the face and it's not your grandma. It's an Archon posing as your grandma to trap you into this shit again. And you bounce, I'm going in any direction other than that light. And honestly, that's going to be the mental focus for me for a very long time, probably for the rest of this thing, because I feel that's what's occurring. And I don't, again, have this mental or spiritual or emotional guidance system that's telling me otherwise, or giving me that is an incorrect assessment of my reality. And
or
so I trust my observation.
Might be right on point.
Yeah, right.
Might be right on the money. You see, your situation and your perspective is as valid as anybody else's. In fact, it's important because sometimes, well, let me just tell you a similar thing that happened to me. Similar thing happened to me around 2012 is I got the sensation. I'm not going to say it's a vision. I don't know what it is. I'm a bit weird. I get these weird things. But anyway, and that was that we're all dead. Something happened. Some kind of mass catastrophe happened. We all died. But the trauma was so great that we couldn't accept it. So we created this reality for ourselves, and so that we could feel like we're still alive and still have life, but really we're all dead. That was a pretty hard concept to spend time in. And another thing is, you know, I don't do psychedelics a lot because they make me really sick. I just can't
Yeah.
stop barfing and shitting when I, doesn't matter, mushrooms or what, you know, it's really
Fair enough.
unpleasant, right? And I never got to those places that other people get to, you know, I just was alone in like a dark, damp, all alone place. You know what I mean? And then I
Yes.
realized, you know, that I was causing my own grief by not letting go of my sadnesses and different things. But I have weird experiences in the absence of psychedelics rather than with psychedelics. And I can't explain why. But I think your perspective is absolutely valid. In fact, I've been thinking about um, doing a panel on the nature of reality. And I don't know if you're interested, but if you wanted to be on the panel, your perspective is just as valid and important as everybody else's. In fact, I think it's a key component that we don't want to look at, but we need to look at it. And I bet you there's a lot of people that are going through the same thing. And it's comforting to find out you're not alone, you know? Because sometimes
Honestly,
it's
no. I'd rather be alone in this, like I am. I
okay,
feel
all
on
right,
everything
fair
else
enough.
because it's such a
Fair enough.
fucking dark place. I'd rather this be sort of something that doesn't get out. To be honest with you, I feel like this is going to be a seed planted that allows this perspective, whatever the fuck is going on with me right now, to be propagated. And that's something I don't want. Honestly, it's not to withhold truth. It's that the truth sucks and it defies the purpose of being here. So let's walk it through, Karen. Let's say
Sure.
that everybody here knows, like gets this idea that this is all absolutely bullshit, absolutely, and your goal here is to not absolutely go insane, like, and that there's nothing after this, and all of this is made up by you, and that really there are so many limitations within the programming because of the way that you've set this place up. It needs to be an infinity loop, which is why you see cycles of time, which is why you see these same faces in history pop up. It's got to be a never ending thing, but just slightly changed, right? And then you must forget every time, which again makes this sort of a prison. So again, rather there is some higher fucking version of you outside of this that's better than this and got trapped in that, I've got a big issue with, okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
because then that calls into question what kind of entity you are. Are you really what our perspective says you are? Now, if there's a soul trap situation going on, I doubt anything we can comprehend mentally is going to be what's actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can ask the question, well, is this sort of a prison to where there is a way out, let's say, but it's so impossible to figure out that that is the prison in itself, right? And the thing about it is your tendencies go against your programming, but that's matched on purpose. I feel that that is absolutely matched in harmony on purpose. And people
Mm-hmm.
who are saying, oh, I got over this, awesome, great job, buddy. For some reason, maybe I came in with some real fucked up shit I did on the other side that, again, I'm not aware of, which pisses me off to no end to not be aware of some sort of little karma or some bullshit. Like, why am I here? What did I am I making too many left turns per life? Like, is that the stipulation that I'm under? Should I make more right turns than I should left? If I need to go left, should I be keeping track of those to make sure that every now and then I just take three rights instead to equate to that left, because that's the issue? Do you see how like insane this place drives you with that? The
Mm-hmm.
fact of it is that it's so convoluted, it's so full of riddles and mazes and puzzles that are perpetual in nature and fractal in nature. So it's brilliant to what you said. So the experience I'm having of this reality right now is, I'd say, honestly suffocating in a way, because it feels like I'm bumping up against a firmament, like I'm Alice that's eating that cookie and I'm fucking gigantic in a building whose roof hasn't broken yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's shitty, you know. It's I'm ready for the next whatever the fuck's going on. Like, if this is some sort of escapable place, let's do this shit, you know. I'm not trying to commit suicide or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to that, but what I'm saying is I'm looking forward to a side door, you know, some sort of like what else is here rather than this infinity loop. And if it is some sort of like stuck or prison or whatever, like I just some, because that's the thing, right? That would be honestly also a brilliant prison, is to feel that it was, but never be able to be confirmed, right? Because this is the greatest thing about it. And there are many quotes on this from horrible people throughout this reality that state, you know, the best prison is to make sure that the prisoners never know that they're in it. And
Yeah.
so for a lot of folks, you know, we're looking forward to some five fucking D, and we're looking forward to disclosure, and we're looking forward to aliens, you know, yeeting out of Mars and coming down. And everybody's got their stories. Everybody's got white knights. They've got their messiahs of some type.
Yeah.
And the terrifying part is you're it, but then to think that the limitations you're put on, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, the programming, the bondages that you put yourself in. Again, the trap, it seems that maybe there's an answer here, but that the key is buried somewhere in an insane place, written in a language in another dimension that you can't access. It's some really weird shit is where I'm at with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't know how far you want this seed propagating, but I'll kind of spill it on here a little bit. But I'll come on your panel and talk. But what I mean to say is I'm not proud of, I guess, feeling any sort of disdain for this place because I'm not an agent of chaos. But I'm more Anakin than Luke lately. But I will say that I'm also not that excited to. I don't know. I guess entertain some of the methodologies I've looked into that also feel like just such an incredible waste of time. Does this make any sense, Karen? Am I just rambling at this point? Do you need to
No,
hop in?
you make perfect sense. And the question that comes up for me, and not to be cheeky or anything, is what if you're right? What if what your experience is more of the real? I've been watching some stuff by Donald Hoffman, where nothing we're perceiving is actually real. And
No.
I've been aware for some time that I have my own perceptual arena where I take data in, I make sense of it, but that doesn't mean that you or my next door neighbor or even one of my grown offspring would see it that way or have the same calculations and the same perceptual arena as me. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Who knows? That's why I don't want to judge other people, even if they seem to believe things very different than what I believe. Actually, you know what? I don't even have that many beliefs. I have what I call working theories.
I
And the
like it.
working
Yeah,
theories
ideas, not beliefs. Yeah.
change all the time. I used to be extremely idealistic, and it really led to a lot of disappointment.
Yeah. Oh
And I
yeah.
had to,
Yeah.
every day I'm breaking all that shit down. So, what if you're right? So then I guess you go, okay, like the other thing I wanted to say is me being an older person, I'm almost 70. And I don't know if it's the same for other people, but the older I get, the faster the days go. So
Yeah.
days just whip through. Like I can't even get anything done that I want to get done because the days are just slipping by, months slipping by, years slipping by. At this rate, I'm going to be dead. So what do I
Don't
want
go
to?
to the fucking light, Karen. Stay
Oh,
away from
so
that
what do I
goddamn
want to
light.
do? So what do I want to do? Obviously, I'm passing time. I'm just passing time, right? So I try to do a little bit of good. I do the podcast and I try to be kind to other people and I try to do a little good. I'm absolutely in love with my animals. I get so much from the deep connection that I have with animals where in some ways they're smarter, more aware than I am. And sometimes
Yeah.
they just look at me like, you silly woman.
Yeah. Why are y'all
And
mucking
so
this
there's
up?
all that going on. And I work on myself and my relationship with my grown kids and my grandchildren. And what else can I do? It's not like I'm trying to score points. I don't care if people like me. I don't care if people believe me. I'm way past all of that. That's the beauty of getting older. You don't really care. You don't care that your butt sags and everything else. You're never going to fit the ideal. So why try, right? So it is very much like just passing time, and then I'm going to be dead, and I have no idea what's going to come after that. But I don't know. There's certain things that give me satisfaction. Getting control over my own life, like for instance, getting out stupid stuff like getting out of debt, finding what's biologically appropriate for food for myself, not necessarily for other people. Having these deep connections with the animals. I can go out on my patio and watch the birds and get so much joy just from that simple thing that maybe all that other stuff doesn't matter. I don't know. I wish I could give you some words of wisdom, but I don't have any. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're absolutely right. And that's kind of a scary thought, but not really, not when you get used to it. And the thing is I know we're all evolving and changing over time. And I'm excited actually about your journey because there's so much that can come out of it. Like, just what comes out of the dark and the damp, a lot of good things. That's where seeds are germinated. That's where mushrooms come from. There is growth. There absolutely is growth. But anyway, you can tell me, Karen, you're full of shit and I don't believe anything you say, and that's all good too. That's all good too.
No, it's beautiful because I use the B word like you do, only to say that I don't have many, if any, beliefs. Line in a Kevin Smith film I saw a long time ago called Dogma, and this character named Rufus, played by Chris Rock, just says, I have ideas, not beliefs, because ideas are easier to change, and that's the point, right? It's this. This is also where I'm at with this whole reality, by the way, Karen. And I've reached the point of I see the mechanism, I see the process, the ups and downs, the sine waves, the back and forths, and the mechanism in which this operates, and like the Enneagram, like the 10 phases, 9 phases, all that kind of stuff. Like I see it. And you know what it is it's being greeted with this perspective at the exact moment of also reaching extreme burnout, to where it's not that I could fight it, right? I didn't have the positivity to offer the perspective, which is why it's so heavy. It's like, I used to greet these things with sort of an optimism of, oh, well, yeah, that's a possibility, right? Yes, and that could be possible, but then maybe there are many other possibilities. And so, again, it greeted me at this perfect storm of just timing, to where I have to sit with this, and it fucking sucks. It blows. But what I will say to this is, I think it feels like with everybody's story, it feels like what we're doing here is sort of sitting down. Do you remember, I guess back in the day, I don't know if they have them now, all those chairs that line up against the wall at a salon, and you put your head and the dryers down, you know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah,
you sit
that's
there
from
under
my
that little
day.
dome. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Well, a bunch of y'all sat around and you had those domes over your head. Well, what I picture here in this reality is sort of that we're all in the same room, right, with these domes over our head, but we're all watching a different screen, a different reality. I don't know necessarily that you have control over it, because that has not been my experience. In fact, the opposite. So I feel very pulled and pushed by this place, even though I felt like I was driving and I didn't, right? It was a hindsight thing. So anyway, again, the information, if that was what's occurring, I couldn't perceive it that way. So, but it feels like in other people's, like you're right next to me in this scenario, and you've got your helmet on, so you're telling me about what you're experiencing in your VR set. I'm telling you, yours sounds awesome. Like that sounds cool as shit. And I've got my hand up because I've had mine up for a while now, saying my shit's broke. Like this game sucks. Like something's going on. Mine's bunk. Mine's whack. Whatever. There are way too many cool potentials in this scope of experience, but they're nowhere to be found. Like what the fuck is going? Mine's broke, right? If we're here to really do this thing like that, which again leads me to prison. So I have again, I see that you have a perspective in your VR suit and your reality, and I think it's awesome. I think it's great. So I would never attempt to tell anybody else what's in their VR suit, what you're experiencing in your reality, because that's silly, right? I'm not in yours. But also, I feel that there's some sort of connectivity to this, and more of a consensus reality element, to where it is all of us in sort of a room, but really what's occurring with you is completely customized to you, and in its own little way. I think the reality ultimately wants you not to know you're in a prison. I think that's the ultimate goal of it, which is why 80% of people it works really, really well for, and some people just passing through sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But there is this 10% that feels that just has an awareness, which I think is another level to the prison. Like you're aware at a level that it is, but so many people are not. You can't wait. You know what I mean? So I think there's a level of this hell to that experience.
Yeah.
And the ascension, honestly, feels like we're going deeper into the levels of this hell, right? And so for all of the people that are sitting there going, I want to go to 50, it's more fucked up. Like it's this, but just more shitty, with crazier rules that you don't know what the fuck's going on. That's a deeper level of the game. I'm looking forward to level 1 or out, right? I'm looking forward to the baseline program of this thing that's so easy to go, ooh, there's the door, that I'm just the fuck out, right? And so this feels like that equivalent of the soul trap type of idea is, and that's what this feels like. It gets the game sort of refreshes all the eons that you reincarnate here, however many lives you do over a 12,000 year time period, you get that many times, I guess, is sort of an idea that I'm just presenting, to figure this shit out and get out of it. And then the game resets and it gets harder. And so after 12,000 years, it resets, gets fucking much harder. And then now you're not stuck here, but now you're challenged further until you can figure this out. I would say that on this time around, when my time comes naturally, because I'm not suicidal, I'm not looking to exit. But when that comes, I'm very mindful that I'm not going to be going to that goddamn light. Now, the other thing to that is this is where I'm at personally now. And what if we find out, more information later that that's actually the trap? Actually, is this whole idea that it's an Archon soul trap, and that if you don't go to the light, that is the exit, right? And so you get into these interesting paradoxes, and this is what ultimately grinds my gears about this place, I suppose, are the paradoxes. It's you've got an experience that's cool as shit, but we aren't able to share some of the most fundamental of experiences in ways that would make this experience so much more meaningful. That's what's maddening, to be honest with you, in another level. So if any of that made sense, that's sort of how I see that.
Yeah, of course. I hear you. I mean, I hear you to the best that my perceptual arena will allow me to hear you, which means I may not know exactly what you mean, but I certainly validate your experience, and it's all, worth thinking about. I've had also the sensation that we live in a terrarium within a terrarium within a terrarium, and it just never ends. And you find the edges of the terrarium, and you find the glass wall, and you spend so much time figuring out a way to climb over it and to get to the other side. You think, oh, I'm free, I'm on the other side, and then you go, oh shit, I'm in another terrarium. It's not that different than the one I just spent all that energy to get out of. And what do you do with that?
Well, and this is the interesting, what do you do with that? And here's another paradox for you. That's a paradox, right? Another one would be where you are a dream expert, let's say. And so you spend your days looking forward to sleeping. And so you're like, 90% of your life here is looking forward to the 1/3 that you're unconscious, but you're able to do things and then come back, right? So now, is that a waste of a life? Because really you're not out like climbing pyramids and shit if your life is devoted to that in a certain respect. The other thing to that is that if you are aware that there is a process to this that you should be doing in some capacity, then you're going to be constantly looking into disciplines that allow processes for that, right? So there's sort of this presupposition that there is a way to do this, and that whenever you find that or you get introduced to that idea, you start really being led down a shitload of rabbit holes. And what does it do? It kills a lot of time. So it's interesting, right? But some of those rabbit holes inevitably lead you to these sort of here's what's going on. And those are where you really get your mind fucked with, because they're contradictory, but they're also unfalsifiable, unprovable. The flat earth, round earth thing is a brilliant example of that.
Yeah.
Is it a true paradox? Yes, because they won't let you go prove it, right? Is what I'm told. I haven't tried to swim down there myself or anything, but that you're told you can't, but there's so much conjectural evidence against the argument, the mainstream argument, right? But then also, there's no way to get the funds or even if you can get the funds, you can't get the permission, like I said, to go down there. It's one of these things where all the governments in the world don't agree on anything, but they agree that you shouldn't go to Antarctica to touch the edge of the dome, right? So, like, what is that all about? It's just this riddle of paradoxes that used to be fun, Karen, to be honest with you, and now it's maddening. I've really reached a point to where I'm just sort of fucking over it, and it's again coupled because I'm in the balls deep in this burnout thing, which I didn't know what that was, but now I'm very aware of what that is. And so it's like shit observations from a disempowered position to where all I can do is see them as shit and flip them off, not see the opportunities in it to not feel that way. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, of course it does. It makes total sense. Another thing that has occurred to me is we live in a very dualistic reality where we tend to look at things as being this or that. And, I've thrown that one out the window. I believe it's this and that. I think the earth is a globe and the earth is flat and the earth is a holographic universe. And also we live in an electric universe. I think it's all of it could be all real at the same time, which doesn't necessarily give me answers, but flushes it out, to expands it to a point where I cannot get caught up in all the little details, because whether the earth is flat or whether the earth is a globe, that's sort of me playing around with little details, when really the fact that I'm here at all is a miracle. And I don't know, all I know is I got to live my life the best way that I can, one day at a time, and roll with the punches, and take good care of my body, because my body seems to be foundational to the whole spiritual thing, and not the other way around. People talk about us being in a meat suit and that it just houses the soul, and soul's what's really important. And no, that doesn't satisfy me either. I think that the human physical, as I perceive it to be, also has a right to be comfortable and to be free of disease. And not that I'm perfectly free of disease, but you know what I'm saying, to take good care of that too. And just shifting my focus from all the details to maybe it's this and that and the next thing and something else I never considered yet, something I'm going to learn about next week, and just be in awe of it. And that also required me to give up a lot of control, to give up a lot of control and perceived stability, which is all bullshit anyway, in my opinion. What do we really have control over? Not a lot. Not a lot,
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, I love your dog. The look on his face, so happy, and so it seems to know more than both of us put together without being able to talk about it or want to talk about it.
That's my boy. That's Kiva. He's a boomerang, actually. We rescued him probably 11 years ago, and he didn't fit in with the other two dogs that we had at the time. And we ended up giving him to my mother-in-law, and then she gave him back about 3 years ago. So we got him back. So he's a boomerang. We rescued him, gave him away, got him back. And he is one of the best. He's like the best soul you've ever met. He's got these beautiful blue eyes.
He looks like an old soul that's so wise.
Oh, yeah.
And as you're talking and as I'm talking, she's just happy being, just happy being. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's so lovely.
And then we have a spark plugs. I can call in here. Okay. We have a little spark plug that we just met that you'll see here in a second. Come here, sweet mama. This is a rescue that we just got. Come here, baby. So this is Yokai. I know. She is named after the nine-tailed spirit fox, the Japanese nine-tailed spirit fox. And she is awesome. She's a part Texas healer, part Australian Kelpie.
Yeah, beautiful.
And she's sweet. Oh,
very, very sweet.
She's about a year old. Yeah, say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Oh, thank you, Mama. Yeah, she's great.
Aw, she looks pretty chill.
Oh, yeah. The crew.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
So yeah, this is it. So it's a rainy day out here in Texas, and we're publishing books and playing with dogs. And
well, you're doing some really, really good stuff in spite of having to go through the murky whatevers, and but I firmly believe that everything that you're going through is absolutely valid, and I don't know where it's going to lead. Who knows? I don't know. But I think that I mentioned earlier about the hero's journey, where you step off from the safe mainstream whatever perspectives into the unknown, and you end up at the 6 o'clock position as if it was a clock, and that's usually very hellish and very dark and very damp and very nasty. But we don't stay there forever. We end up coming up, and by the time we hit to the 9 o'clock, we're actually changed beings. And then we have a whole new reality that we didn't even know we could have. And that's so well documented historically and across all the cultures. A good friend of mine named Trevor Isley, he does a lot of podcasts about being in that dark place. And he's amazing. And he spent a lot of time there. And
I'd love to connect with him if you want. I'd love to have him on the show to talk about it, because I haven't talked about this on my show, Karen. This was so crazy. I'm like, I haven't even talked about the journals on the show at all. I've just been kind of doing an interview, putting it out, doing an interview, putting it out. So all of this, my audience hasn't heard, So
it's all good stuff.
So it's fresh for you, I suppose.
What I'll do is I'll send you in Messenger his name, and he has
that'd be great.
Trevor Isley. He's brilliant. And when I got stuck at one point, I actually hired him to give me some coaching, and he hit the nail right on the head. But his videos are fantastic, and they're almost all about what you do when basically you're in that really shitty dark place. And he believes that it's extremely valuable. I actually do too, but it doesn't make it easy, and it doesn't make it nice. And you know, most people don't want to hear about it. That's the other thing about it when you're going through it, is other people don't
I'm
want to
fucking
hear it,
over
because
it.
then we're real downers, right?
Well,
People want
you know
stuff
what
that's
it
going to make
is?
them feel all happy and
Honestly,
joyful.
no.
And
You know, here's what it is. I'm so to the point of like over this sort of like journey part of it, honestly. And again, I'm not fucking suicidal. Okay. I'm not,
yeah, I hear you.
I'm just in an observational mode of this to where I don't feel like, the ride again. I'm having fun. And, so, and I know that's not what it's about and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, like you said, the perspective of it sucks, but this sort of mechanism of operation is what I've got sort of the issue with, is the underlining. Like I see it, I see the roadmap, I see the ups and downs, I see the roller coaster, I get it. That's the issue I've got. I don't feel that the upgrade and fortification that's allegedly occurs every time you have that, is compensational. It's sort of like when the gas prices go up, they go up $2. And then what they'll do is they'll lower them 50 cents. And you're like, holy shit, they're back down. But they never go back down that
Yeah,
$2. So
yeah.
do you see what I'm saying? To where
Oh
it's always
yeah.
this, it seems this inevitable inflation in the encouragement of this self-destructive process that I'm, if that again, it boils down to mechanism of operation. It boils down to, well, this is a school and you're here to learn and you're here to do this. I'm fucking tired, Karen. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm over it.
I
I'm
do.
over
I
the
mean,
ride.
I could
I'm
say things
done.
to you like, "Oh, you're in the caterpillar state. Just wait for the butterfly,"
Yeah,
and I could say all that. But those things don't mean shit
over
when
it.
you're feeling that
They
way.
don't. I don't want
I
a
believe that
psychedelic to
just
make me feel better. I don't want a symposium. I don't want
no.
coaching. I want off. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm not,
yeah,
like I said, I'm not an agent of chaos, but I'm not far off. You know what I mean? I'm not bitter, but I'm also not in a joyfully participatory kind of way like I was before. It's just sort of an over it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I hear you. I hear you. So, we're coming close to the end of the show, but I don't want to cut you off. So
No,
I want
yeah,
to
this
give
is
you a
awesome.
chance to tell people anything you want to say. Also, I want to ask you and just be really clear: are you comfortable with me publishing this podcast
Yeah,
with
yeah,
all the
thank you.
things you've
Yeah,
said and we've
I'm where I'm
talked
at.
about? You're
I
okay with
am where
that?
I'm at. You know what
I
you
want
know
to
what
make
it has
sure.
been, and thank you for asking that. I've canceled a lot. I've canceled a whole lot over the past 2 months, and I've actually rescheduled with you this conversation. So, no, I'm where I am, and I'm where I'm at. And so, what you want when you get what you get when you get me, which is what you want anyway, is authenticity, and this is where I'm at.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
don't feel responsible to lead people, but also you invited me on for a conversation, and here we are, and this is where I'm at. And so, absolutely publish this, darling. I would never censor your show or show up and then ask you to
Well, I'm
yank, but
just
it's
giving
very
you the
sweet of you to
chance,
ask. I know it's very,
giving you the
very
respect,
sweet,
and I would definitely just archive this if that's what you wanted, because
very sweet. Thank you. No, no, no. Throw it out. Throw it out. What I mean,
okay.
is that I just don't want, I don't know, to amplify sort of that negative messaging, but also it's not, I'm not also holding anything back. I'm not like going to be some, oh, I'm not going to say it just because it sucks, right? I'm not a believer in that either. It's sort of this, uh, it's got to do with just the reinforcement of the darkness, you know, because I'm not offering anything other than just reinforcing someone's shit feelings about this place and maybe further validating and maybe enhancing and giving a better argument to than they could phrase or something like that. But I, you know, I like you want used to, you know, hold my hat on like this is temporary and all that good stuff. But again, I know this is temporary. It's the okay, cool, we're gonna have fun for a little bit, and then I get another wham. And then okay,
Mm,
cool, we're gonna have fun for a little bit, and then I get another wham. And so I'm
mm,
not seeing the beauty in between anymore. I'm seeing the what fortification do I need to do for the wham? Like, do I just need to withdraw from society for a year, like you said, and spend in pajamas? You know, is this astrological? Is this something I could at least get a heads up on so that I don't, you know, I commit to going on shows and then canceling constantly or committing to things on the in any level and canceling constantly. So it's just this interesting spot. But again, I thank you so much for this because you've been so sweet. You are so sweet. And of course, this conversation is wonderful and I'm grateful because you're just such the perfect person to have it with, you know? So thank you very much. I appreciate you holding space, I think is what you say.
I don't know what the right term is. I'm just an idiot stumbling through
Not at all.
life, to be
Not at
honest,
all.
and thank you very much for your kind words. Now, I'm just wondering if you have any last words for the audience and the listeners. And again, please do tell everybody where they can find you. And I highly recommend your podcast, Expanding Reality. It's fantastic. You interview some of the most brilliant minds, and it's so much, I call it juicy. It's really juicy and satisfying,
Thank you. That's
and
very sweet.
And no bull, I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that you've been felt safe enough to be authentic with me today.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That has everything to do with you. So thank you. So thank you again for the opportunity to hang out with you. This has just been therapeutic and wonderful. And that's sort of what these podcasts are, right? It's if we're willing, our ability to sit in front of a mic or on a headset with you here and just to kind of feel shit out and to vent some ports, of this reality, because we talk about really mind expanding things, but also we don't get to really explore sort of what the realness of this looks like. And for all intents and purposes, it blows most of the time, right?
Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's this reworking. It's this healing. It's this constant whatever. It kills a lot of time. I will say that. And so whatever benefits you're getting out of life, just keep them going. Keep doing that. I'd say be kind to one another. That's how I always end the show. Just be good to one another. And so that's how I'll end it here. Just be good to one another. That's sort of where I'm at with shit. Like I said, I'm not an agent of chaos. I don't want anybody to go burn or, I don't seek vengeance or anything like that. But I do have some serious issues, with this place on a deep level. So yeah, like most of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So where can people find you again?
Yes. Yeah, find us anywhere podcasts are served. For now, the website's out of pocket. We're just going to take a break from that. We did just start a Patreon. I started a Patreon. I'm starting to add the bonus content over there. So if you'd like to sign up for that, it's Expanding Reality or Patreon / Expanding Reality. Maybe Expanding Reality Podcast. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can find it. The logo's the same. And then also YouTube, Rockfin, Odyssey, and I think that's it. But also all the books and the journals and stuff like that, hardback and soft covers for all these kind of things. Amazing cover art by all these different incredible cover artists or artists. They just happen to put it on a cover. So all that kind of stuff available on Amazon for now under the expansion series. You should be able to find it. There's Mindful Expansion, and then that one will pop up and it'll lead you to the others. They're all connected there. And more will be coming out like crazy. Wisdom Expansion's up now. It's got an owl on it. It's your evening version of the morning one, and it's badass. It's really cool. And then several more of the other line and creative journal experiences for everybody wanting to expand that creativity and just sort of get a tangible hold on what the hell's going on here to express themselves or note your observations or anything like that. And if anybody's got any questions as far as publishing goes, I'd love to be a service, in between my ability to not hate this place, right? Just reach out at... just write me at expandingrealitypodcast@gmail.com for now. That'd be great. Wonderful. So there you go. But Karen, thank you so much for this. This is such a cool place you've created here. You're a delight. Absolutely. And I really needed this, and this was a joy. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's been good for me too. So thank you so much. And I want to thank all the viewers and the listeners, because without you, I wouldn't even have a show. I appreciate you all so much. I wish you all the very, very best. And until next week, thank you for joining me on the Quantum Guide Show. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.